heading towards the weekend, if you want some good news, look, I think it's good news, but I'm not sure. We're about to find out. Indications from the Reserve Bank that inflation may be about to be heading in a positive direction. It may even be back under control and within the Reserve Bank targets in time for Christmas. But I'm not sure exactly what that means. Somebody who does, well, knows more than me, definitely. Dan Mazengarb, CEO of Christian Savings. He joins us now. Dan, kia ora. Good morning.
Kia ora, good morning, Andrew. How are you?
I'm doing very well indeed. Slightly buoyed by good news from the Reserve Bank, which honestly I don't understand that much. It sounds like good news, though, doesn't it? Inflation rates going down, things getting back under control. Surely inflation is the cause of, well, at least 20% of our misery at the moment. Isn't this an early Christmas present?
It is. It is. Hopefully, for those with mortgages,
Yep.
They are watching this data closely because the rate of inflation is tied to the OCR, and the OCR is tied to our cost of borrowing as a borrower for our mortgage. So, look, I think it wasn't a surprise that the Reserve Bank kept the OCR at 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
But there was certainly some indication that, yes, towards the end of the year, we will see inflation getting into that target. Now, that target is between 1% and 3%.
Wow.
And that's what, the power that be, those people with PhDs in this sort of area determined to be the appropriate level of inflation in New Zealand.
And hey, that's what it was for many, many years. A bit of a beat up on the Reserve Bank along the lines of, look, guys, you've got one job. It's to keep inflation under 3%. And you haven't been hitting those targets recently. And hey, like a lot of stuff, we can blame COVID for some of that.
Yes.
But it looks like that bonuses are back on the menu for the good people at the Reserve Bank. Well, no, it's their actual job. But talk to us a little bit. Take us behind the curtain. How does this actually work? How does the work of the Reserve Bank and their what they do with the official cash rate, how does this influence what inflation rates and interest rates are in New Zealand?
Yeah, look, so obviously, if inflation is too high, it's like a car engine running at high revs for too long.
Yeah.
It's not good for the engine and for us in the economy. If prices rise too much too fast, it's not good for our spending power because the value of our dollar goes down. If milk doubles in price, then the dollar in our back pocket doesn't go as far. So that's sort of the central focus of all of this is getting that rate of increase in prices into a good range. And the OCR, the official cash rate, effectively is the rate that the bank pays, the central bank pays on cash and what the banks borrow at when they need to borrow from the Reserve Bank. So it's a long way of saying that has a big influence on the cost of funds for banks.
Mm-hmm.
And so if banks, if they raise the OCR, then our mortgage rates go up, which means that we buy less milk or petrol or whatever.
Or both.
Or both. So that's really that central tool that determines. And obviously, the other thing we need to think about is businesses as well, because it's not just us with mortgages that borrow, but it's people who want to start a business, businesses who are deciding, do I open another store or acquire this other business here? So, it is the whole economy thinking about their spending and the cost of spending if they're going to be borrowing that money. And so that's sort of a roundabout way of saying how it works.
Now, this is good news all round, as you say, not just for mortgage holders and people wanting to buy milk and other consumables, but it's good for the economy generally. If there's more confidence in businesses, if they're not spending so much to borrow money to expand their business, better economic growth, generally this just makes the things better generally. Is that too much of a simplification?
No, it is. And we have, the Reserve Bank did note in its report that there was a weak confidence in business at the moment.
Yeah.
So, it's something that they poll on regularly is how confident businesses are feeling about the financial future. And determines how they think about employment. I think one thing to be thinking about is a labor pool.
Yeah,
When inflation is running really high, and things are really cranking along, it can mean that the pool of potential employees is, we have very low unemployment. And whilst it sounds like a really good thing, it also means that businesses are struggling to find people.
yeah,
So if we do see a bit of an ease off, then there probably are um, potentially more choice for employers when they're going out to find people,
yeah.
staff, and so that can be a good thing. Although that might mean a slightly higher
Raising
unemployment rate.
unemployment in that regard, yeah. Now, I mean, an optimistic Reserve Bank, and certainly if they signal this, then that hopefully has the flow-on effect and businesses get more confident, and again, things get better generally. Having said that, this is a forecast. This is a prediction. This is a little bit of, oh gosh, this is what we're thinking and hoping, with some science behind it. But there are also obstacles between us and a very Merry Christmas, Dan. This isn't locked in as a certainty of something that's going to happen.
No, and look, one of the big things that we can't control is what other people do around the world, right? So one of the reasons for their predictions is slowing economic growth globally. China has really come off the boil, and they've got some significant challenges that they're dealing with there. So, if something happens overseas, and again, war, we've talked about war on this show, not between you and I, Andrew, but global war. That can throw a spanner in the works as well. And there is a sense of rising tension, South China Sea, and obviously Israel, Gaza, and in Ukraine. So look, we all think that global economic growth is sort of easing off, but there are events, viruses, wars,
another big cyclone, that type of stuff. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
and I think the other just to say the other thing on that that may be good news is if we do see more mortgage holders struggling with their mortgages. Politically, it's kind of untenable to be keeping the OCR so high when the everyday Kiwi could be struggling.
Exactly, and I mean this is a huge thing that is happening behind the scenes. Yes, milk prices are going up, but also people's mortgages are rolling over for renewal, and they're in the situation as either a much bigger chunk of their weekly income is going to pay their mortgage, or their mortgage has suddenly got a lot longer and more expensive. This is really going to cause, I mean, in that scenario, that causes a constriction, I suppose, within the economy as people don't want to spend any money because they don't have it. But there will also, I suppose, be the question of people whose mortgages are coming up for renewal within the next few months to go, yes, but interest rates might be getting better by Christmas. Do I just lock it in for a shorter period of time, hoping that the sun will come up tomorrow? Now, not looking for mortgage advice on this. There's other people that can do that, but that's one of the factors that people will be considering at the moment, Dan.
Yeah, and I've had some interesting chats around the lunchtime table on the subject of people saying, "Oh, I've only fixed for 6 months because I think rates are going to do this," and some people saying, I fixed for 18. And I think the biggest thing that comes that really drives that decision for people is certainty. Certainty of your own decision and prediction, but the value of certainty for you for your own mortgage payments. And I think that's the big thing that I would encourage people to be thinking about when they are making those decisions is, can I withstand volatility or change? Okay, great. That might drive one particular decision. Or do I really need to be certain that these are going to be my mortgage payments over the next 12 months because of everything else going on in my life? So that is the central thing, I think, when people are chatting over the coffee table at work, is this need for certainty that we all have when it comes to our finances.
And hey, if people are in that situation, of course, if there's a mortgage broker that you can talk to about that, talk about your options, talk about how risk averse you are at the moment, there'll be a number of different factors there. But hey, if people wanted to find out more about Christian Savings and the work that you do, you and the team, Dan, what's the best way of finding out more information?
Yeah, great. Go to our website, christiansavings.co.nz. Our mission is to see the kingdom of God grow by enabling churches and charities to flourish, and we do that through providing finance to them. We also give everyday Kiwis a chance to deposit funds and earn a financial return, but also help churches and charities grow in this country.
Appreciate the work you do, and thank you so much for taking time to chat with me on a very busy week for you. Dan, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Andrew.
Hey, thanks very much for joining us in the Rhema studio. Thanks very much for watching the interview. It's kind of nice to have an audience, actually. And if you did like what you watched, then do give us a like, do give us the thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more interviews like that one, or perhaps even better, subscribe and those interviews will come straight to you. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.